Young man, young woman, keep your head up high, it's okay to cry.
He's an intelligent, savvy lawyer as well as the founder of the African Caribbean Human Rights Group. Let's welcome Akim Larcher. Hi, hi. Good. How are you?
Lovely, you.
Great to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
So tell me about, you were born in the Caribbean, you're from St. Lucia, born and raised in St. Lucia, and now you're here in Toronto.
Yep, born in St. Lucia most of my life. I spent there probably about 20 years. Lived a couple other places, Miami, London, but I immigrated to Toronto in 1999.
Yeah.
And it's now home for me, so
Oh,
loving
wow.
it.
That's great. Tell us a bit more about your group. Why did you start on that path?
I'm definitely a human rights activist to the core, and the group basically came about of concern around issues within Africa and within the Caribbean. So a group of us decided to come together and just say, you know, how are we going to address the issues in the Caribbean? How are we going to address the issues in Africa as it deals with, you know, human rights, child abuse, rape, sexuality? How do we address those issues? And we thought it was important that since we're living in Canada, that we at least come together and see what we could provide support and also deal with issues in Canada around those same issues.
So you're a team of how many people? Is it?
At the moment, what we've done is a coalition of about maybe 20 organizations. So various organization members, executive directors, we all come together and we just basically try to discuss what's happening and see how best we can provide support for people.
So you also you're on the board of directors for the Black Hat.
Yes, and Black Cap is the Black Coalition for AIDS Prevention, and been a board member I think about 6 months now. Wonderful group, and basically Black Cap provides services to the Black community in terms of HIV/AIDS awareness and outreach, and basically they're the leading organization to provide services. I mean, they're doing a wonderful job.
Yeah, because the Caribbean, I understand, is also have the second highest rate for HIV.
Yes, after Africa.
After Africa. That is shocking.
Yeah, it's the second highest in the world. It's
in the world?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a wake-up call.
Why do you think that, especially in the Caribbean, I mean, it's a whole bunch of educated people, why do we have such an alarming high rate?
What's happening now is that there's a high prevalence within the heterosexual community, and many people have always seen HIV/AIDS in the Caribbean as a gay disease. So many people just say, it's not going to affect me, so that's just how it goes on. And that's how the trend and the infection rate has sort of risen. So it's unfortunate, but a lot of people are working on it.
Yeah.
So it's not the worst, but we're trying to get it better.
There's also the stigma of being gay in the Caribbean or being gay in St. Lucia. What is that like for you? Like, how did you grow up?
Well, I fled. I mean, I love St. Lucia. St. Lucia's home. I'm a West Indian man to the bone, and I love the Caribbean. But growing up in St. Lucia as a gay man was very difficult. I tended, from primary school and secondary school, I just stuck to myself because I didn't want anyone to basically have any ammunition to say anything to me. So I was very, to myself. At one point, I was attacked on many occasions. So I had to leave. It got to a point it was just starting to escalate, and I felt threatened, and I'm not accustomed to living in a space of threat, so I had to leave.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing that up to today, in today's society, that you actually have to be afraid of your life because of your sexuality and your choice.
Yeah.
Why do you think the Caribbean is so homophobic? Why would somebody hate somebody so much because of the sexual preference? Like,
I think it's a combination. I mean, it's just society, people's views, religion, and not being able to understand that although you're different, that we can accept you, and that difference is allowed or okay. And in the Caribbean, there's a sort of heightened masculinity. So anything that's effeminate or feminine, there's that environment that is basically not good.
Yeah.
Women in the Caribbean are sometimes seen in a negative fashion in music, and that sort of environment sort of feeds into homophobia and other things.
Do you think that the government is doing enough to help protect all those innocent people who are dying?
Well, they're doing absolutely nothing, I'll be honest. And that's definitely for Jamaica and every other island. They haven't addressed it at all. They've been very silent on sexual rights. And that deals with everything, prisoners having sex, that sort of thing. That discussion just hasn't been, brought to the forefront because I guess it's taboo.
So what is it like in Toronto? I know you said in St. Lucia growing up, like you felt threatened. What has it been like here in Toronto as a gay person?
So it's been wonderful. I mean, there's always pockets of spaces that you can feel discriminated against. I mean, that's everywhere in the world. But Toronto's been pretty good. It's a vibrant community, very accepting. But I think we have some work to do in the sense of bringing homosexuality within the African and Caribbean communities here. At least people who immigrate here still have that sort of stigma and discrimination. So it's a bit of a challenge, but overall, I mean, Toronto is home and I love it. It's been really good.
Great. That's amazing. So what's next for Akim?
For me?
What's going on with you?
Well, I think next week or in a couple of weeks we're looking at having some sort of a protest in front of an embassy, a Caribbean embassy. And we're looking at ways of demonstrating and showing, queer faces, black gay men and women basically calling and trying to get our rights. And people are dying and people are being hurt in the Caribbean and Africa. And I think it's important that we bring it to the forefront and say, how can we get this to change?
It was great having you here. Thank you so much, Akim. Akim Larcher, he's the founder of the African Canadian Human Rights Group. You can hit him up on Facebook or you can visit our website at www.carolinpersonal.com.